Hello, I'm Gordon Pettit, and over the next half an hour or so, I'm going to take you through a quick demonstration of Innate's Resource Manager software. Innate's Resource Manager software is there to gather information about your people and information about your work, and by balancing these two elements, we are able to present the information in a way that helps you make better decisions about the deployment and utilization of your resources. We'll start the demo by logging into the system as Alex Lime. Alex Lime is a manager in the organization, and he has placed on his homepage a number of reports which will help him make the decisions about his business. So we'll start to look at the forward loading by department, because this report shows us the organization is divided into two departments, the IT and the operations department. We can then see the black line is the remaining capacity for the entire organization. In the table below, we're able to see for each department the headcount, the work, and the remaining capacity on a weekly basis. If I drill into that table, I can see the teams within the department and right down to the individuals within those teams. This first report is looking simply at the work that's committed, the work that we have orders for in the business, so the work that we know we must deliver. But clearly, one of the things that we also need to be aware of is that we are always bidding for more work within the business. So what the system enables you to do is to plan that work at a proposed stage, and then overlay your committed work with the proposed work. So we can now start to see how, if we win all of our proposed work, that will affect our ability to deliver that work. Let us now log out as Alex and log back in as a project manager called Reg. So already we can see that when we log on as a different user, we can have a completely different set of reports for the individual that suits that person. I'll start off at the top of the list. One of the things that we do with Innate is we enable you to plan that work at an early stage. So when you're first proposing work or bidding for work with a client, we can put that work profile into the system and we can plan the work at generic levels. That enables us to see what the pipeline or potential pipeline of work coming into the business over the next 3, 6, 12 months, etc. When we win that work, we can change the status of the project, and we then start to see any outstanding requests for resource or work that is still at the generic resource level. The next thing we might need to know as a project manager is the resources that are actually assigned to work on my projects. Now, once we're working on our projects, things that we might want to be interested in is how that project is going according to the initial plan. So what Innate also enables us to do is to import your timesheet data from your timesheet system into the database, so we can then start to compare what has actually happened with what is planned to happen. In this particular report, where we're halfway through a project, what we're able to do is look at the time that has been recorded, the time's actually been worked on this project, imported from your timesheets. That is indicated in the blue section of the report. And then we're able to see what is the plan to finish this report. What is the work profile that we need to finish this project? The grey line underneath then gives us what was our initial plan or our baseline for this project, giving us the ability to provide on a regular basis what is our current estimate to finish this project. one of the other things that we can do in Innate is put costs and charge information against our resources. This enables us to, in effect, as soon as we've put a work plan in place, to bring out reports in the system that show us what is the resource cost and what are the prospective resource recharge rates for this particular project. Now, as a business, we might also want to see on a project by project basis how busy all of our projects are, who's working on which project and what is the work profile. So what's the resource allocation on a project by project basis. Another thing that some people are really interested in is the remaining availability or the bench time for our resources. We present this in what we call a heat map style of report, where the red cells indicate that those resources are over allocated. They're doing more work than they are contracted to do. The yellow cells indicate that those people are just about perfectly utilized. And the green cells indicate that those people have the ability or time in their diary to do more work. Now, as well as showing you this remaining availability just in hours, what we can also do is put costs to that bench time. So we're now able to say, yes, we've got all these people sitting waiting to do work. We're also able to say the cost of these people sitting waiting to do work is shown in this report. Finally, adding our project forecast gives us the ability to show what is the revenue or the cost basis on a month-by-month basis for the next 3, 4, 6, 12 months, etc. So those are just a few indications of reports that we can see within Innate and some of the information we can get out. In order to get this information out of the system, we need to know about your people and about your work. So when we look at your people, there are 3 basic things that we need to know about your people for the system to work. We need to know who they are, the name, what they can do, in this instance the team, or it could be the skill, and the calendar shows how long they can do it for. So those three basic things, who they are, what they can do, how long they can do it for, are the building blocks that enable us to plan and manage what that resource can do. Of course, in a lot of businesses, you need to know a lot more about that resource than just the team that they're in. And Innate enables you to record as much or as little information about that resource as you require. You can have as many fields on this screen as you wish. Every single one of those fields is configured to meet your requirements. All of the labels can be changed to match the naming conventions that you use in your business. And the fields on this screen are there for 2 reasons. They're there for operational reasons. What do we need to know about this resource in order to make sure we are going to assign the right resource to the work that we need him to do? Second reason is reporting. How do we want to slice and dice the data in those reports? What do we want to filter the reports by? Do we want to use locations or cost centers or any other kind of information when we're slicing and dicing the data in reports? The next thing we need to know is about your work. And when we're looking at your work, we divide that into 2 separate areas. The first area is the project header information. This is the detail about that project that lets us know operationally what sort of project it is, Is it part of a program? Is it part of a portfolio? Which client is it for? Who is the project manager? What is the status of the project? Again, all of those operational things that you need to know about the whole project in general. It is also there for recording information that again can be used for reporting. How do we want to slice and dice the data? How do we want to group these projects together in reports? How do we want to separate them? Do we want to see what sort of projects are more profitable than other sorts of projects? So all of that information sits on this project header screen. And again, you can have as many or as few cells or attributes on this screen as you require. Nothing is fixed in stone on these project detail and resource detail screens, because we recognize that your business will change over time and that you may require additional reporting information as time goes by. The second place we start to look at project information is the actual work itself. This is what we call the manage assignment screen, and this manage assignment screen is where we manage the tasks, the sort of resource that's going to work on that task, and the amount of effort that is required for that task. We can put in as much or as little detail within the project breakdown structure or work breakdown structure as you wish. My example here is showing that I've just got project and task in my work breakdown structure. I could, however, insert columns from the database that enable me to say the project is part of a program, and within the project we are also breaking that down by phase, project phase, and then task. So we can insert columns and take columns away to make this screen look like everybody's favorite spreadsheet. And it's important to know that everybody can save their own views of the data, the way they look at the data, so that in effect, as we say, it acts like their favorite spreadsheet. Now, in this simple view of the data, my project is arranged into 3 tasks: design, program, and release. My design is requiring of an analyst, and I've put some additional detail that analyst needs to be able to speak French and German. My programming requires a programmer and a tester, and my release requires a technician. The profile of that work is shown on the right hand side of the screen, and that work profile can be seen in a daily view, a weekly view, a monthly view, or even a quarterly view. So it enables you to plan that data in a way that suits you. Similarly, the units that we plan the work in can be defined as well. So in my instance, I'm looking currently at hours, but I can show that work in days, in units, in percentages, or indeed in FTEs. As well as that, the system can toggle the data between the table and a Gantt chart. When we're planning work on this project, the work profile, we can start by creating the project from a template, and the system enables you to create and save as many templates as you wish. The templates being there in effect to give you the best possible starting point for each and every project that you're going to plan, and to save you a little bit of time on each project that you are starting to plan. When we're planning work on the project, I can either type in the hours or the units directly into the spreadsheet, I can use the system by highlighting cells to fill to the right or fill down. Or indeed, I can use the system to create either recurring appointments or contoured appointments over a specific time frame. So again, we try to use all of those kind of tools that you might have in Excel that will enable you to easily plan the work profile for each project. Meaning that if somebody is putting this data into a spreadsheet or other tool at the moment, it should take no more time, and potentially less time if we have enough templates to enter the work profile into the Innate resource management system. Once we have planned our individual project, we can make the assignments table a little more complex. I can add more detail into this screen to enable me to not only look at this particular project, but to look at this particular project in conjunction with all of the other work that we have in the database. So if we look at, for example, at this moment in time, the work on my new 5 project, which is planned for the analysts, we can see in the table of total work for my analysts that I have the red bar indicates we have an overload. Graphically, I can see the amount of work we have in the histogram, and my availability line shows me that I have too much work for analysts at this particular point of time. When I'm in the Gantt view, what I can therefore do is just grab that bar and move it along to a point where we can see that the work for this project can be accomplished within the number of resources that we have. This is enabling me to, in effect, on my proposed projects, move the work for proposed projects or for lower priority projects out to a point where we no longer have a bottleneck for that analyst. When I save that, I can then change the view to a tabular view, and I can say, right, now what do we want to do? We want to give this work that's currently required for an analyst to a real resource. There are 2 ways we can do this. If we look back at the first screen now, I can see that I've actually asked for not just an analyst, but an analyst that speaks French and German. So by right-clicking on that line and asking the system to replace resource, what I can see is that by asking for a resource that must be an analyst and must speak French and must speak German, I have no resources that meet that requirement. So what I can do is relax that requirement from must be to prefer, and now what we can see is that I have some availability for Nat Nolan, who speaks French but not German, and I have no resources within the team that speak German. So Nat is by far my best option for this particular piece of work. So I could choose to just give the work to Nat at this point in this screen, but at this point I'm going to show you another way of assigning resources. So if I know who I want within the team, and I can open up the team of resources to see that I've got John, Chris, Larry, Nat and Pat within my team. If I look below there, I can see that both Nat and Pat have full availability. I know I'm going to give this particular piece of work to Nat because he meets my requirements. I know Nat. So I'm just going to highlight that piece of work and drag that down onto Nat to assign the work to Nat Nolan. That then enables us to see all of the work in the Innate Resource Management System in our reports, to get lots of information about those resources and how busy our people are, and give you a very easy to use interface that enables you to plan work and assign that work to individuals. That concludes this very quick demonstration of the Innate Resource Manager software. I hope you found it useful. Please do not hesitate to contact us at Innate. You can get me on the email address gordonp@innate.co.uk. Thank you for listening.